Investors are eagerly awaiting an AI golden child, Nvidia's Q4 earnings report on Wednesday. The stock is up more than 200% over the last year, and the frenzy around AI has been largely responsible for the recent market gains. As of Thursday last week, Nvidia accounts for 30% of the S&P 500's gains this year. For more on this, we turn to Ruben Roy, who's the Stifel Applied Technology Analyst. Ruben, great to have you here. We've been trying to tee up Nvidia throughout the show this morning here, and one of the huge things that jumps out is just how long this rally, this momentum that's been at play for Nvidia can continue and what the company has to signal within this report. What would you be looking for?
It's a great teeing up is exactly right. So this is it's going to be a very, very closely watched, results and outlook, as I think your previous guest just noted. And we're looking for more of the same, really. If you look back at the last several quarters, NVIDIA's had nice beats and raises from, sort of their outlook perspective to what they actually printed in terms of results for the given quarter and, in terms of the outlook relative to consensus. And we're expecting more of the same, like I said. We think that supply of GPUs has improved modestly, meaning that there's still, sort of this disconnect between demand and supply, demand being greater than supply. So we do think that NVIDIA is able to fulfill, some of the demand out there, but there's still a lot of demand behind that, right? And so, we think it's going to be a positive commentary with potentially a little bit left in the pocket here ahead of NVIDIA's very important technology conference, which is coming up mid-March, GTC. So at that conference, we're expecting new roadmap, technology, information, et cetera. So a lot to go through when the numbers and the commentary comes out from the company, but we're looking for positive results and guidance.
Ruben, I guess how much of that is already reflected in the run-up that we've seen, not only over the last 18 months, but even since the start of the year? You're looking at share gains of just over 40%. Does that, do you think, set up NVIDIA, at least in the short term, the very near term, for a potential pullback on these results?
Could be. We're looking past sort of the near term. Like you said, already this year, it's out. The stock's been outperforming the rest of our group by quite a bit. Can it be volatile over the next several months? Sure. There's been a lot of discussion about how far the stock's gone, valuation, et cetera. But if you take a little bit of a longer term perspective, this year, if we look at the big cloud service providers, the Amazons, Googles, Metas, et cetera, of the world, Microsoft, the CapEx budgets are going up in excess of 25%, for the full year versus last year. And we think a lot of that incremental dollar spend is going to go into AI infrastructure. And if you look at the competitive dynamics out there, AMD, which we like as well, as a distant number two player in this GPU accelerate for AI, has taken up their outlook for AI chips by 75% in 90 days, really, from late last year to early this year. But they're still talking about shipping maybe $3.5 billion worth of GPUs into AI infrastructure this year. And so when we look at that incremental spend, which is very, very significant, most of that spend in our view is going back into NVIDIA. And this is to build out, continue to build out these large language models. And so when we take that into perspective, yes, there could be some volatility near term, but I think it'll smooth out over the next 12 to 18 months with NVIDIA continuing to remain at the forefront of what's going on with AI infrastructure investment.
If NVIDIA comes out and misses on this, what is potentially a Goldilocks report, is that the rug pull on the broader markets, especially given how AI has fueled this rally?
That would be tough, right? Because there's obviously a lot of expectations here. One of the things that we've been talking about with our tech team here at Stifel has been sort of this concept of broadening of AI infrastructure spend. And we are starting to see that with things like AI networking, companies that are exposed to interconnecting these GPU clusters and then out into the rest of the data center and rest of the world. And, those numbers have been going up, Brad. So, I think it's a sort of an unlikely situation where we see sort of a miss and guide lower, but anything can happen. Certainly that would be taken as a pretty meaningful negative, I would say, into the ecosystem of AI as we think about the broader companies that are involved here. But like I said, throughout earnings season, the news has been rather positive on this broadening of capital spending into a lot of other companies that'll benefit from AI infrastructure.
Ruben, you mentioned just a moment ago that GPU tech conference that's coming up next month. Any idea, or just give us a sense just about what you think the pipeline updates is going to sound like or is going to look like, and what you think NVIDIA sees in terms of that growth opportunity, the TAM, the total addressable market here, for their chips in the longer term?
Yeah, it's a great question because I think that's really a focus area that we've been looking at, which is that NVIDIA is expanding their technologies that are coming into this area of spend. So not just the GPU hardware, not just the software that goes along with it and the networking products that are very necessary, but they're expanding. They started shipping a CPU for the first time into these types of deployments. So they've got an ARM-based CPU. I think that the cadence of their technology coming to market is increasing. So instead of GPUs coming to market every 2 years, they're trying to increase that to potentially bringing out new technologies every year. They've got, as you folks might know, H100 and H200s are kind of the leading edge of the GPUs that are going out into these AI infrastructure builds. Today, they've got a new set of technologies coming out that we expect to be launched later on this year, which we'll probably talk about. And so I think it's really that. It's a question of expanding their technology that they're bringing to the table across both hardware and software, as well as the networking. And so I think that's going to be an important area for investors to focus on.
All right, Ruben, Roy, always great to get your insight here. Thanks so much for joining us here ahead of NVIDIA's results tomorrow. Ruben, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.